All righty, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Valentino Luna. I am Queer H CEO, and today's our official first day that we actually have somebody, an entrepreneur amongst us. So Danielle Lee is from Phoenix, Arizona. She's here representing a few of her brands in the entrepreneur spirit of it all, which I love.
Yeah.
So yes, if you want to make sure we are today, if you want to go ahead and select the link and follow Restream or download Restream, we are currently streaming on 10 different platforms simultaneously. Super awesome. And we are also, if you are an entrepreneur or you're new to business, go ahead and select the link for Intuit. You will get 40% off of the first 6 months of your service, which is super exciting. QuickBooks is amazing. I know a lot of people like to use it. So yeah. Hi, Danielle. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
It's been a crazy day, but it was a good Sunday, so it was great.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on such a short notice. That's
You're welcome.
seriously the hustle, right? We're always in a hustle of some sort.
I
And
was
I
like,
was,
"What's you up to today?"
just another show. uh, yeah. So basically, Queer H CEO is the entrepreneur beginnings is to shed light on how entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs, because a lot of times we see what people look like successful, and we see how they are, living their best life, but we don't really see the struggle and the ugly because we're taught to kind of hide that, right? It's just as like socially unacceptable to be like, my life is falling apart, but I want to be successful. Like, we just don't do that unless you're me. And then, you just publicize it everywhere.
Sometimes you're just shoved into it. So,
Exactly. And you know what? And that's going to be one of our big questions is like, how did you like, when did you know, right? But we'll get into that later. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Danielle.
the dreaded question. I am a mom. I have two little boys. I entered, sorry, I entered the world of sales accidentally. So I never planned on working with clients or customers or selling anything actually ever. That was not my dream or goal. But I have a little bit of the South in me. I have a little bit of the Valley Girl, California in me, and I settled in Arizona where I met you.
Yes.
And yeah, so but I am a mom full time. I have and a wife. I guess that counts too. If I count my husband, I've got three. And then I don't know. I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I work from home now as a MLO for a brokerage company,
Okay.
and so I work that during the day. And I've got three jobs. I got my full-time job being a mom. I've got a day job. And then I've got my fun jobs where I get to branch out and meet other people and make friends, which has trickled a little bit into my day job now with that new
And that's
position.
usually how it goes. And that's one thing that, like, being an entrepreneur, when you have that extra, when you follow your passion and you find something that really just like you really engage with, you're able to have it trickle into your other networks, right? Because that's
Mhm.
when you're in the right place, because it's no longer siloed into just one form or one industry. Then it spreads out because you're creating a community of your own, right?
For sure. Yeah.
And that's basically what it sounds like that you're doing.
Yeah. It, like I said, I was just kind of shoved into it.
Yeah.
So,
Did you just like triple over it like I did? Like, I just kind of stumbled. I tripped over a chord, and I was like, I woke up the next day and I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. How do you spell this?
well, I didn't even like, I don't look at myself as a salesperson. I'm a terrible salesperson. So,
Hmm.
I like that side of the struggle is real. But I really, I went to school to be an artist. That was my goal. I was going to be an artist, period. And I got my degree in art. And then I was between jobs, and I just kind of, I was just forced into it. I needed a paycheck kind of thing.
I
But it
completely
ended up
understand that.
working out. It ended up working out, and I ended up learning a lot about myself and what I can actually accomplish. So
Absolutely. So that being said, like one like so like when did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Like I know you said you like, were forced into it, but that at any moment did you have a moment where you were like, you know what, I just want to take life by the horns and just work for myself?
My first like true like direct sales or entrepreneurship where I got to do sell a product for like my own way for myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was really just to make friends. It was to meet new people and put myself out there and make friends. I used to sell jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
and that started parties and girls' nights and wine. And it was really just I wanted to push myself to meet new people. That's what pushed me into like this track of things.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So with how long have you been with Crest Mortgage?
A year and a half now, roughly.
Okay. And have you been in the mortgage industry? So you're a broker, right? Were you
Yep.
in it before?
Nope. Straight
You-
from nope. So but I love it. It's working with people and being able to put people in better positions, better situations.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about what I'm doing now, that I get to actually work with people and take kind of a crappy situation for most people and put them in better spots in life. So whatever their situation might be.
Nice, good. That
Mhm.
sounds amazing. And so tell us a little bit about Color Street, right? Because you said you're an
Mhm.
artist. Oh, I love that. And that's the thing about being an entrepreneur is it's an art. You know, that's where a lot of us get our creativeness, right? We want to put it into, and that's why entrepreneurs, you can't really put us in one box because we do everything, right?
We do a lot of different things. Yep.
Always, right?
I started Color Street just because when you fall in love with a product and you find something that you love, you become a buyer first, and then when you get obsessive, you end up just jumping 2 feet in and going, okay, I can try that. I can do this. And then you just grow, from there. So some people like me, I was totally shoved into it. Like I said, I started actually with direct sales with jewelry.
Mhm.
That company went under, which is fine. And I ended up going into makeup, which is between my day job and my home life, that company itself was a struggle.
Mhm.
And then I came across Color Street, and it was a product that I was like, oh my God, this is so ingenious, so simple to use, so easy. I was terrified to tell my husband that I was going to start doing it because the first go around with makeup was a struggle.
Mhm.
Um, but he was supportive, and he was like, yeah, sure, do it. And I can't tell you how many people have been able to meet and over nail polish.
Right.
So
I
just the
actually have,
simplest thing.
and you actually you know Katie, right?
I love Katie's my bestie.
Yes. So like she's all about the nail polish. The other
Yes.
so
She buys
whenever
from me.
yes, I wish I would have known about Color Street. I so whenever I like I'm walking in the store and I see nail polish and I always wonder like is that something she would buy because there's like all different kinds of nail polish. Nobody realizes there's tens of thousands of colors and hundreds of brands.
Yep. Well, she's a beast though. She like gets into it and she gets detailed, and she is all about doing it, with the nail polish and everything. But
Yeah.
and she's always been that way, even before she was a mom. So um I ended up falling in love with it because I can literally put it on and then do dishes or go to the bathroom or change a diaper or whatever
Yeah.
the situation is. So it's easy to fall into something that you use and you believe in, you love.
Absolutely. So when it comes to, and one of the things that I hear you mention a lot is your husband and your children, right? Because you have a
Mhm.
family and you have a full-time job. And so a lot of times for, for an entrepreneur like yourself, you're very, very busy. I could not imagine having children. I could barely handle my animals. So like how do they like when do they know like when mommy's in work mode? Like mommy's in work mode. Like mommy has her CEO hat on right now. Can we like do you guys have like a code? Like what goes on?
The world of COVID has changed our lives completely because everyone became full-time at home.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a kindergartner, I had a sixth grader. My husband was working from home last year. I was working from home full-time last year. So we all kind of discovered our own corners. Um,
Yes, I get that.
And having a kindergarten online virtual is quite a struggle because, you're working and he's supposed to be working, but he's
Hmm.
never touched a computer before in his life kind of thing. So you learn to figure it out. You roll minute by minute, day by day, week by week, and sometimes you just have to piece stuff together.
Hmm.
Sometimes you drop the ball on things, but
Yeah.
the goal is to just keep picking it back up. So
Is there such a thing though as dropping the ball? Like to whose standard is that ball, right? Like sometimes we have a moment and we're like, "Oh, okay, let's do something different next time." Right? I mean, for me
yeah,
that's how I look at it.
I mean, you're always gonna fail someone. I mean, you're not gonna live up to other people's standards, but
Always
as
welcome
long
to
as
the
you can learn
world.
to accept the fact that you know it didn't happen today, but you'll get to it or it'll happen eventually, that kind of thing. So I always joke because I used to make Tristan, my oldest, I used to make all his costumes. And one year he really wanted to be Mega Man. And I worked with you in
Mhm.
travel. And working that job was so stressful and it was so many hours. And I was
We really
so
didn't get paid that much either if we really think about it, for
so
as much stress that
undervalued.
was.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, yes. Um, so with that, I'm like, little man, for Halloween, you're just gonna have to be Hulk. You're gonna just have to wear one of your dress ups and we'll do Mega Man next year. And it happened. But
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to accept reality. You're not always gonna be able to get everything done when you want it to.
Absolutely, and that's just the way of the world. I mean, honestly, like even on my first show, even though I planned it like a month and a half in advance, I was sitting here. Do you remember earlier when we were speaking? I was like, I feel like that chick from Princess Diaries, where she's all with her news report, and she's all waiting for the princess to show up, and nobody shows up to her blog,
No, yeah.
and nobody listens to it at all. And then she gets that one listener, and she's just so grateful for it, right? So when you said
Right.
yes, I said thank you so much because I was prepared. I had stories to talk about today. No, so and I started my day with the Who. Today is it's Mental Health Awareness Day, right? And so the World Health Organization had this huge global conference today. And I twittered them and I'm like, hey guys, you want to be on my show today? Of course they're not gonna answer me. I wouldn't answer me. So with your kids, how many do you have?
Just two. I
You have two
quit
kids?
after two.
Oh, that's good.
We drew the line. The second one made sure there were no more.
And then how about the and how old are they?
I've got he's 6 and 12.
Oh wow, okay. And your husband, how long have you guys been married?
12 years married, together
Mm,
15.
fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And and I love that you said that and I know that conversation that you have with your spouse when you're taking on a new endeavor, right? Because for an entrepreneur, we see success where others don't, right? And so our
Right.
spouses, we have to like be like, hey, you got to buy into it. And they're like, we remember what happened last time.
Well, the struggle was real with him because first it was jewelry and that one went really well.
Yeah.
But when your supply chain is shutting down, you kind of just have to decide whether you're going to go with another company, another route. And then I was like, you know what? Makeup's easier to sell than jewelry parties. People have to come back for it, that kind of thing. So I went
Mhm.
that route. And that just created a really big strain on our marriage. For whatever reason, he really struggled with, I don't know if it was the time or the dedication I was putting into it or what
Mhm.
it was. So when it came to Color Street and pushing a cheaper product, an easier product, that kind of thing, I was really nervous. I was like, I don't know if I should even tell him.
And and I'm glad that you kept going. And so like as part of what I would like to call it is the entrepreneur condition is that we keep going. We always keep going, right? And
Or
we're
you
just
never
like
quit.
ever. And it doesn't matter what brand it is because it's just that need. to be an entrepreneur, like when you said, oh, and I have this brand and I have this brand, I said we are cut from the same cloth. And the fact that you doubted you belonged on this show, of course you belong on this show. You are an entrepreneur through and through. Um, which brings me to my next question. Okay, so this is the question of all questions. Uh, so where does your passion come from? That what not I'm not talking about for your brand. I'm talking for that entrepreneur drive. Like where does that passion come from? Or
Well,
the drive?
hmm, where to begin? Like I said, I was totally thrown into the world of sales. I never expected sales to be a part of my life ever.
Hmm.
But I, um, knowing me today, I know you know me, but knowing me today versus my past life, my childhood, what I like lived through, what I came out of, um, my childhood wasn't as great, just like yours. I've
Hmm.
had just real struggles that most kids and never have to deal with, and I strive today to make sure that my kids never deal with anything that I went through. Um, you kind of there's just a burning fire in you. There's a switch. There's when people put doubt in you, that flame gets bigger. It's that motivation. That word no, I I don't accept it. Even if your no is no, there's a next opportunity. Just because you said no doesn't mean that I can't still be your friend. I can't still help you or push you in the right direction or give you advice, even if you're not buying what I'm selling. So
Yeah,
it's all about relationships and connections and taking that no and just building your little fire and making it bigger and bigger kind of thing.
I like that. I like that. And so just to like, and that's one thing we don't talk about as entrepreneurs, right? Is that drive of what really drives us. And so one of the key things you said is that fire when someone tells you no.
Mhm.
And no is very hard to swallow sometimes. And we're like, but why? And no just means that you're not willing to find a solution or take it an extra step further. So when you are dealing with a no, right? What is it that makes you keep going? Do you find like a different solution? Do you?
I have to remember that the people I'm talking to or selling to or just anyone, you and me, I could try to sell you nail polish and you could say no to me and that's okay. That's allowed. I know that I tell people no. I didn't tell you no today, but the back of my mind, I was like, no, no, not happening.
I think this is a good thing, though. I am so blessed, and I'm glad that I'm very honored for you to be on our show. Honestly, this is the very beginning stages of something I think really important for the United States of America and globally, right? Because we
Mhm.
don't have these conversations as much as we should. A lot of times, people give up and they have a dream and they give up because they think that it all happens overnight. They think that success is
Nothing.
wrapped in a bow, and it's really not.
Mm-mm. Nope. It doesn't happen that way. You have to apply yourself. You have to give yourself time. You have to find energy. You have to focus. You have
Mhm.
to build relationships, build trust, communicate. And it's okay. If you can't accept no, entrepreneurship is not the right path for you. It's just not. If you can't accept the word no, and no doesn't mean anything personal to me, it just means that it doesn't work. Whatever I have to sell you or offer you doesn't work for you, and that's okay. Just like I can tell you how many people I say no and close my door to that come to my house to sell me solar. I'm like, no.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm like, don't take it personally. No. So,
The answer is no. And I love that because so as I like when I think of the word no, I think of why? And then I was like, does that really fit? And so one of the best advices I got is that if somebody doesn't want to work with you, don't work with them. Don't push it. Because I could be very pushy. And people don't like that. They it's like if I meet another me, I don't know how I could handle that, right?
you
So
can
that
turn
being
your wheels all you want and you can keep pedaling down the wrong road, or you can, when someone says no, you can turn around and walk another path and find someone who will say yes.
yeah.
And sometimes it's a hard no, and then you just need to turn your direction. Sometimes it's a no, not right now. Everyone has their different reasons as to why. Sometimes there are barriers that you can break down, and that all happens with trust.
Do you know that I think that we were trained not to take no, and I think that's our problem. You're fine.
Turn off alarm.
Do you remember our training in the travel world? Like we had to overcome so many objections all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
All every day for like the first 30 seconds it was an objection. So
I've
yeah.
never talked to people so angry that we're trying to plan a vacation.
Yes, and so I joke with people and I say the reason why I have the stamina that I do is because of 4 years of talking to angry people. When you talk to angry people for 8 to 10 hours a day, you're just like, "Oh, okay, you're desensitized," you know?
Yeah. I stuck it out for almost 8 years, and I've got to say that if you are not working for, I I can tell you that that company um, really took away how I value myself. It really
Mm,
set me up to believe that I couldn't do it, or I don't have it in me, or there's no place better than the shitty 8 to 8 job sometimes that I
yeah.
was working, you know? And, it took me a long time to really realize that I am a valuable person.
And I love that. And when you had that moment of empowerment, is that like when did that did that entrepreneur in you just like come out and was like, now I need to like take
Well,
like what did you do like in that moment? Because that's hard. That's hard to break away from that we get stuck in these desk jobs, right?
yeah, for sure. It's a little difficult and scary to step away because, like, I mean, it's obviously a communication with my husband. I had to sit down and be like, listen, I'm not happy. I know you're not happy because I'm not happy. I know the kids are struggling because I'm not happy. I know that we need an income for us to survive. So it's definitely, you have to have hard conversations sometimes. But he was super supportive. He was like, whatever, if I have to go work at Pizza Hut for extra cash on the side, I'll do whatever we can to support you. And I'm
Absolutely.
he in that situation is very proud of me for walking away because you can only have your commissions restructured so many times and taken away from you so many times and have so many rules and regulations thrown on you. And you mentioned mental health. My husband went through a mental health crisis, and that company really, being a top producer for that company for so long, really tore me down in a situation where I really needed a company to back me up. I
Yeah.
really needed them to understand that instantly overnight I became a single mom, and we were fighting the state just to, get him home again. So,
Mm.
and it was all because of a mental health. Like I called 911 to save his life, and $20,000 later in legal fees, we finally beat the state and all charges were dropped.
Wow.
So, yeah, criminal felony charges, and literally all I was doing was saving his life that night. And so, it was worth for every penny. But it
Yeah.
was a long struggle. It was 8 months of fighting with the legal system and being a single mom on top of it, and then working that full-time stressful job and all of that. And so, all of that really built up. And then when they were cutting my commissions because of points, uh, and I was taking points because they were declining me PTO to go to court appointed, hearings and things like
And
that.
and for everybody that's listening, when we talk about points, we're talking about an attendance point system.
Yes,
That
yes.
and this attendance point system, the points get smaller and smaller over the years. Sometimes within 6 months, it always changes with this particular company. But yes,
And
keep going,
as you
Danielle.
collect points, you lose commissions. So it was just a really big struggle, and I finally just reached my breaking point, and I'm like, this just isn't working for any of us. It's just not working. And I decided to, leave a situation, and I stayed in that situation for so long, and I'm just going to go back to this. I stayed in that situation for so long because they really broke me down and made me believe that there was no better job out there. I couldn't do a better job anywhere else. And even being a top producer for so long, while I was there, they really made me believe that I couldn't do that anywhere else.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
So
And when you so and that brings it back to when like your childhood. like what you experienced then, having to be resilient, overcome that, and then you have to almost relive similar situations, and you want that support from somewhere, right? And so like, when did that entrepreneur drive start? Like, how long ago did that start? Do you remember that moment?
Well, I think I've always had it in me. Like, I mean, I wanted to make friends, didn't know how to do it. So I started selling jewelry. Women love jewelry. So I pushed myself to, step out of my comfort zone, my quiet zone. And I went out there and I made friends. And that's what started it all in the beginning. But to leave that situation,
Yeah.
it was just a breaking point. It was like I learned to value myself more than the company valued me. And I got the hell out of there.
Yeah. When your husband had his breakdown, was it in alignment with when you left that company?
No, it was so in November 17th was the first time it happened, and I left in May.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So
wow.
it
Yeah.
was a long period of time where, I mean, my management understood what was going on. She didn't want to lose me. Obviously, I was a top producer. But the more and more I got declined because of, travel, that's wave season. So there's a period of time where you're not allowed to ask for time off. That starts on January 1st, and this all happened in November. Our first hearing, the holidays and everything, first hearing was after in January. So
Hmm.
it was multiple points that were stacking up against me, and I was losing commissions. I wasn't making anything, and I was just done. I was ready to just move on with my life. I decided to get licensed, and
Congratulations.
yeah, so that in itself is, dedication. It doesn't just happen overnight. I just don't automatically get a license. I have to take a course. I have to study. I have
Yeah.
to pass one of the hardest tests out there to get licensed. And
How was that?
um,
Tell us about that. So, like that, because people don't realize how difficult it is to be a broker. So, a broker, right, to me, for someone that never knew what the word meant, as a business owner, I looked it up and I said, "What do you mean I have to get licensed for myself and my company? That's a double dip." And then I was like, "What do you mean I have to do it in every single state? That's 50 times the amount I have to pay. What?" So, tell us about this. I'm excited.
so I am a broker. I work for a brokerage.
Yeah.
So there's a banker, and then there's a broker. So brokers are poor. Bankers supply the money. That's how I remember it. So brokers are broke. But we broker deals between multiple lenders. So if
Mhm.
you are in a position where you're trying to purchase a home, or you're trying to get out of a loan, or you're selling and you need to buy somewhere else, or you need to tap into equity to do upgrades, pay off debt, maybe pay off college, consolidate college loans, all of those things are reasons you would reach out to a broker versus going directly to a lender, which is a bank. And the biggest difference between brokers and banks is a bank provides you and offers you only the programs they offer.
Mhm.
So the products they sell. Whereas going
Oh.
through a broker, we work with multiple lenders. So we're licensed with multiple lenders. We can typically broker a lower rate for you. And we also, in most cases, have lower closing costs
Mhm.
than going straight to a banker or a bank, a lender. So instead of going straight to the big guys like Chase or Wells Fargo or credit union, something like that, we are able to shop all of them for you and offer you the lowest rates.
Wow, that's impressive. So this kind of makes sense now. And so for a lot of entrepreneurs that do go the route of getting loans and whatnot through the bank, a lot of people go through a million no's before they get a yes, right? Or they get a yes and then they don't realize all the other yeses that they could have accepted. So, and how do you get like clients daily, or is that like a monthly thing? Like, how does that
I
work?
still grind. I'm not gonna lie. I still call people. I can tell you I get some very colorful answers all day long, and I still do it because eventually you're going to talk to that person that actually needs help. So
Mhm.
and I can't tell you how I love this job. I love doing what I'm doing, especially in my broker side of my life.
Mhm.
The people I get to help, I for example, this is just an example, but I was working with a customer and nobody could help him. I was the fifth person to reach out to him. He had gone to 4 different lenders directly to them. None of them could help him out of his Hero Pace loan that's in California. And he had DTI issues. He had all kinds of issues. And so I came back to him and I was like, have you thought about, refinancing this way and then flipping your loan in 6 months? And he's like, well, you're the only one to offer that to me. Does it work? So sometimes working with a broker, nice thing about it is that it's a one-on-one. Everyone I work with has my cell phone number. So it's not like you're going through and you're talking to A, B, C, and then maybe sometimes you get to talk to me. You get to talk to me all the time. You can text me all the time. You can email me all the time, that kind of thing. So it's a one-on-one connection. But also I get to provide the different options to you. It's nice. Especially with the world of loans, it's not always fixed. It's temporary. Sometimes it's a temporary fix. I have people that reach out to me to fix credit so that they can debt consolidation, build their credit. They send me their credit scores every month as they start to rise, that kind of thing. So it just makes me feel better knowing that I'm putting people in a better situation where they're saving money.
That's wonderful. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize either. I actually didn't know about bank brokers. I mean, I've known about brokers on different levels.
Yeah. So there's the banker that supplies the money. They have the money. It's in the bank. They're going to buy your loan for
the middle
you.
Guy. Yeah.
And so I'm the middle person where I broker the deal. I find the best rate for you. Nice thing about going through a broker, a lot of people don't like to refinance because their credit score gets hit over and over and over again by going to different lenders. And then, but going through a broker, we pull your credit score once and then match you with the products that the lenders have. So it's not like each one is pulling your credit.
Nice. That's wonderful. That's good to know. I actually, when I did a business loan, all of a sudden I got all these emails and I was like, why are there 30 people emailing me? No, I will not click your link, friends. Yeah. This makes sense. I think I went through a broker and didn't even know it.
It's because you get sold you get put to a list. Basically, you go shopping. You click send so that you can get a quote. And in that send, there's the fine print where you get added to a list and people reach out to you.
427 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that to them.
I don't. All of mine, I don't just call people. I don't just call people. We actually have a really great text operating system. So it sends a text out if they're interested, they reply, and that's when I bug you. But other than that, we try not to be intrusive.
I like it. So tell us a little bit about, so we're gonna backtrack a little bit, but it's not really backtracking.
I'm all over the place.
No, you're not. And that's the one thing is that, and I want you to know, honestly, like when it comes to someone that is in the middle of, you're in the middle of your why, you're in the middle of your go, you're just in the middle of your drive, right? And so what happens for entrepreneurs is that, we have our hands here, we have our hands there, but the main thing we focus on, and we have all these other little things until we have a balancing act. And then once we have that balancing act, the things that fall into place, and we learn to accept that. And the things that don't, we either go hard on it or we let it go, right? Like that's business. So, and for an entrepreneur spirit, I always ask, there's one question. Did you see the last question on the email?
I probably read it.
Tell me what your first business was and when it was established, because that is an inside joke, because I don't think there's one entrepreneur out there that can say that they've only had one business and that was it, because that is a facade. That I
used to hustle art.
So yes, that is your first entrepreneur job. I like it.
I used to hustle art. I used to
yes.
Florals, wreaths.
When did you start babysitting? Wait, which one came first, babysitting or art?
Fuck, I don't know. My nickname is Danny Doodles, so from childhood, so probably art.
I like it. I like it a lot. And part of this show, right, is so that way the next generation of entrepreneurs or the generation that's coming up, right, they know that it's not like we all start somewhere. And sometimes it is babysitting. And sometimes it's, for me, it was trading my hot Cheetos for, it wasn't even Cheetos back then. It was Doritos, trading my Doritos for their plain Lays because I knew they'd give me a plain Lays and a Kit Kat. Like, you know what I mean? Because I had the good stuff. Like, it's just in our spirit.
I joke that my youngest is sales because he always starts high. He'll, if it's a cookie, you get a cookie after dessert, he wants that 10. Like he'll start high and negotiate his way to 10.
Because he has an entrepreneur spirit.
So I guess I have passed it on. But yeah, no, I definitely always joke that I am not a good salesperson because I'm not. Like, I don't push people into things that they don't want to do, that they're not comfortable with. And so I really, on my side, I really focus on trust. I focus on building connections, communication, and trust. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, especially with what I do, not necessarily with Color Street. I mean, building trust in that too, selling a $10 product, right in there.
Yeah.
In itself, you have to have some sort of communication, friendship, connection with someone, not just give me your hands, buy this. But even, all the way from, such a low scale all the way to doing $1 million loans. Unless someone trusts you, you're just not going to get anywhere with them. You're just going to pedal and pedal and pedal and spin your wheels, and you're just not going to get anywhere.
And that's just the way, and that's business, right? That is business. And that's one thing that I found. And it's really funny because it's like, like I have big yeses. I have more big yeses and I have the smallest nose, but the smallest nose really bother me. And I'm like, but why?
Gotta let it go.
Gotta let it go.
Because, I mean, a no could be, I don't like the color of your shirt and it's not working for me. Or it could be, I'm not interested. I won't use that product. Whatever it is, you just can't take it personally.
Unfortunately for me, I was born with a horrible personality type, and I have a horrible thing about principles and values that I can't run away from. And I'm just like, oh man. And my spouse always looks at me like, don't do it. Are we gonna do that right now? And it's like, oh, can we not go anywhere without you like correcting someone? And so I forget that I'm not the world police, right? And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll sit here, but they're doing it wrong.
You won't. I know you a little too well.
I just can't help it. I love it.
And I'm the opposite of you because I'm like, okay, sounds good. And I just still try to feed on those connections because if it's a no for you, you might know someone who it does fit for. So keeping those connections
absolutely
are sometimes beneficial.
Awesome. Do you need to get some water or anything for the second portion? So we're almost done here. I just need to make sure. Yes, there you go. Okay, so listen. So thank you. I really do want to thank you. And everybody in the audience that's here with us on Facebook, thank you. On LinkedIn, this is a program specifically for LinkedIn Live. Thank you, LinkedIn, for making me an official live streamer. And so this is also for Restream. Restream does literally, Danielle, we are on 10 platforms right now. And one of them I just signed up for today. And I was like, let me look at this, right? Let me look at this platform. Let me check it out. And so what happens as you become a creator and you become, and you start going into the podcast world. So you will be on Apple later. You'll be on Spotify later. We will also be on 3 different Facebook pages. Did you get a link, by the way, that allowed you to put it onto your Facebook page for your audience?
Yeah, I connected it.
Okay, perfect. You could put it on your Facebook. We are also playing live on Twitter right now. Hi, Twitter. Oh, I just fell in love with Twitter the other day. And so we are also on Twitter.
I'm too old, I think. I cannot figure it out.
Okay. You know what? After the show, we're going to have a conversation about that. So I could not figure it out either, right? And so what Twitter is this global platform. And we don't realize it until we get plugged into the right people that we follow. And so, for instance, today I was part of a global platform. And I raise my hand because obviously I don't care. I'm like, hi, I have an opinion. They're like, no, no, we have doctors and professionals up here. I'm like, no, 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 but let me tell you my opinion. My opinion matters. No, so but yeah, so like you can go on these platforms. So Twitter now has spaces, and so they'll invite you. Usually you have to have like about 10,000 viewers or X amount. You have to be over 18, have X amount of post, and there's a whole process, right? But they've changed their rules recently. So I'm on spaces as well. We're also on Twitch. Twitch is a great platform. Twitch also uses OBS. So we'll be using OBS on our next show. And then we will be on Instagram TV later on as well. And more importantly, we are on Anchor, which is the podcast. It's a podcast application that gets you on all the rest of the podcasts. And so I didn't ask you. So where are you from? Are you from do you speak any other languages?
No, I speak English.
Perfect.
I'm from California.
What part of California?
Thousand Oaks, California. So do you know where that is?
Yes, of course I do. I'm from Los Angeles. I know where Thousand Oaks is. Yes.
I'm like, yes, that's where I'm from. But my parents split when I was really young, so they put as many states as they could between the two of them.
Of course
and
they did.
So I grew up in both California and Louisiana. So, yep, the deep south. I can understand French.
Creole?
I can follow the conversation. And even though I was in French from second grade to, I don't know, 12th, 11th grade, I don't remember any of it. So, I mean, I can't speak it, but I can definitely follow where the context of the conversation is going. So
that's wonderful. I love Louisiana. I love it. The food. I miss the food so much. It was so good there. I can't even cook like that.
Just throw some spices. Just put all your meals from the week together. Right? Add a little rice and some sausage. You're good.
I love it. So yeah, so for everyone that's listening, except for those on the podcast, go ahead and feel free to actually visit my Facebook page, which is at Queer Hispanic CEO. And I do have a couple of I do have a link there for your 40% off of Intuit, which is QuickBooks for the first 6 months of your enrollment. So feel free to go ahead and select that. And if you are a streamer or you're dabbling or you're thinking about becoming a live streamer, I highly recommend and welcome you to download Livestream as well. And that you can find that link on all of these posts. So that being said, I have a couple more exciting questions. Are you ready, Danielle? These are the good ones, though.
Okay. All right, let's go.
I love it. Okay, so what is one of your favorite memories going into this entrepreneur world for you? Like between the jewelry and your nails.
Freedom. I have the freedom.
Let's talk about that all day. 100%. Let's go.
I don't have to stress about stepping away to be there for my kids, or that freedom and flexibility is life.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. That is the most if I'm gonna put a quote on this podcast, that is the quote that I'm gonna take away, if that's okay with you, because that was the most powerful thing about entrepreneurship. All right. And so what are some of the things you wish you would have known when you started this journey of entrepreneurship that you know now?
That I'm valuable.
Oh, talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, working in the travel industry with that company for 8 years, and never really having a true sales position prior to that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to value myself, and I didn't know what value I really brought to just my own life, my job, my profession, my family. I was torn down every step of the way for 8 years, and it was a little rough. So, yeah. Just learning to value myself, value what I'm doing, value what I'm putting out into the world. Yeah.
How do you remind yourself? When you have that rough day, how do you remind yourself, or does your husband remind you, or does your family remind you?
Oh yeah. Well, we all have our rough days, I guess.
Of
So
course, that's normal though. That is 100%
sometimes
normal.
sometimes it's just stepping back and looking at the big picture of things. My dad always taught me, especially with having such a rough childhood that we had,
Yeah.
is that there's a silver linings to everything. Anything bad or negative in your life, there's just a silver lining that's gonna come out of it. And sometimes you just have to, just pause, feel your feelings, as I said earlier, and find that silver lining, or focus on that silver lining, or revert back to a situation where you were like, well, that was really shitty, but what good things came out of it, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
One of the things that I think is spectacular that you had that I could relate to about your story is that when your husband said that he would take an extra job delivering pizzas, my husband did the same thing. My husband was like, "What do I need to do? Do you want me to take another job? Do you want me to sell our retirement?" And I was like, "What do you want? What do you want?" Right? Because I
Yeah.
believe in your vision. And so for us to be married, it's a blessing, right? And
Not
that's why
everyone has that.
no,
Not
and
everyone has that, and you have to find that second person within yourself, that inner child, whatever it is in you that says,
mhm.
"How can we reach this goal?" It may not be reached or accomplished as fast as you want it to be, but what stepping stones can I can create to put myself in that right direction?
Exactly, and I do need to apologize that I didn't wanna dig too deep into your personal
No, you're fine.
relationship with your husband, but, what you said earlier, and granted that today is, uh oh my Mental Health Awareness Day, right?
Yeah,
Because you had mentioned that, and I think it's very important that you mentioned that your husband had a breakdown. So that happens,
it
and
does.
in marriage and in success and in entrepreneurship and in family, right? We don't see that. We just kind of scoot that under the rug and we don't really
I don't
tell
think it's that we
anybody.
don't see it. I think it's that we don't talk about it. It's not
Yeah.
talked about. It's shunned. You're not allowed to have mental problems.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to have breakdowns. You're not allowed to talk about it. It's very hush hush.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's a big problem with even my situation, where I literally called 911 to save his life, and the police did nothing but arrest him and charge him with felony and criminal charges.
Yeah.
And and then, because I live in the state of Arizona, we have very unique laws as to what a victim is. And so, because I was labeled a victim, I had no say in what charges were going to be pressed or not. It's up to the state, and the state chose to prosecute. And the only person that made me a victim in my situation was the state itself. The prosecutor in our situation victimized me over and over and over, and I had to hire my own attorney just to protect me from the state.
Wow. And did you get a professional legal service? Was it a local legal service that was able to guide you through that process?
So the night my husband was arrested, I called every attorney I could find with 24-hour services.
Oh,
And
who did
I
you
went down
find?
to the courthouse. I think for him, I ended up with Lerner and Rowe. Like, they were the first people to get back to me. I needed an attorney for him right then and there, because what he did wasn't criminal. He literally had a mental break, and I was there to save his life. That was my intention. That was my goal. There was nothing malicious behind it. It was, I need help because I can't control the situation at this moment. And so it was definitely an eye opener as
Yeah.
to, I mean, you dial 911 in a situation like that, and because that's what you're taught as a kid,
Yeah.
you call for help. And I definitely didn't get the help that was needed. He didn't get the help that was needed.
I'm
And
sorry.
if you're ever in that situation, though, I recommend everyone save some suicide awareness hotline to your phone, and dial that instead of 911.
Do you have a suicide awareness number? We can find one right now. Is it
Oh,
suicide awareness? So I'm gonna give you a number. I'm gonna give you something that I have that I just used recently. It wasn't for suicide awareness. However, here we go. Suicide prevention. So there's a couple. Okay. So there's the National Suicide Prevention Month.
I have one for Arizona if you want that. It's in my phone.
Okay, go ahead. What is that number?
There's a crisis line for suicide. It's 602 222 9444. And the whole
That's
process that I went through with our 8 months of fighting the legal system, everyone was like, well, why'd you call 911? Like, because that's what I was taught as a kid. You know, you go through the DARE programs, you call 911 for help,
yeah.
you know? And so that's what I learned as a kid, and that's what I knew. And everyone's like, why would you do that? Like, because that's
No,
what I
and
thought
that
you're
and
supposed to
that
do.
that's understandable. And so in the future, and I'm not going to push any of my partners on you. That's actually my next episode, but so Legal Shield. So I actually have Legal Shield. I recently used them. Um, just because sometimes people get out of control, and it's
Mhm.
good to always have an attorney on the phone. So like whenever you feel like you're in danger, and not in danger, but like things can get escalated and you may need an attorney, Legal Shield is super affordable. As a business owner for yourself, they would provide you not only with business, like small business attorney services, but then you'll also get personal services.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so like right now, like they have a program that I think is like only $50 a month or whatever, and then it's actually cheaper than that. I forget what they sent me, but I'll send you the link. Just because I don't want you to have to ever go through that again. I was
It's
fortunate.
definitely most people don't ever expect to go through
We
anything like
never
that.
expect to go through anything, but when we
Do you know
don't
it's
have
1 in 4?
really,
1 in 4, yeah, have mental breaks. 1 in 4 people have mental breaks, or a mental situation, a crisis
Mhm.
situation, and like there's no outward knowledge or help,
Yeah.
especially when you call 911. So I learned the hard way. Our family definitely struggled through it, but we survived. Um,
Absolutely. I'm also
so
going to post a national number for the suicide hotline. So the suicide hotline, if anybody ever does need that, either for themselves, their spouse, or a friend, I have used this to save friends' lives. And so one of the nice things is that when I called the suicide hotline, they actually directed me to a hospital, and then the hospital directed me to somebody else because there's patient doctor confidentiality, and so they were able to protect them that way. But if you ever need help, or if somebody you ever feel is in danger of hurting themselves, please call 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's the suicide hotline, which is 800-273-8255. And if you live in Arizona, the crisis line is 602-222-9444
for Maricopa County.
for Maricopa County.
Yes.
Perfect. I think that's important. That's real. That's, when we, and that's why I'm glad that you're here. This is wonderful. So I do have another question. Oh, and by the way, so I suffer from PTSD and anxiety, and people think that I'm intoxicated actually when I'm having a panic attack. And the only way, like, I film myself now because you can tell when I'm having a panic attack because my mouth swells up and my tongue swells up, and then I get like these white. It looks like I'm foaming at the mouth,
Oh my
and no
goodness.
one can tell because I just keep talking and I look normal, but I'm not normal, because like my brain is not healthy in that moment. And people think that I'm totally normal, and I'm like, no, I suffer from anxiety. It's not about the way I look. It's actually about the way I feel and how I respond
Right.
to the world. Just because I don't
There's
react,
no normal. Normal is nothing. Like
there's no normal.
every,
We're
there's
all a
no
little
such thing as
broken
normal.
inside. Like
Every single one of us.
all day, 100%. I agree with you. All right, so we do have about 6 more minutes. I do have to ask you one more question. Are you ready for that one?
Go for it.
It's the last question. It's the most important question, okay? Because, one day, so maybe this show may not go anywhere, which is Entrepreneur Beginnings with Queer H CEO, sponsored by Corporate Diagnostic Center. Um, but one day somebody might find this, right? Might be Googling entrepreneur, um, one hit wonders on live streaming. You never know. It could be a thing, right?
It could be.
But what if it reaches somebody? And so I want them to be able to, if there was one thing to take away from this show, it would be What is one piece of advice you would like to share with the world for an entrepreneur? From one entrepreneur to another, what is one piece of advice you would like to share?
Oh my gosh. Do what you love. Find something that's going to bring a positive light to someone else's life. Find some way to inhibit positivity, share positivity, kindness, be kind. Like I don't know. I told you I'm a terrible salesperson, but I truly value relationships to the core. And I believe that trust, kindness, positivity, especially in entrepreneurship where it's filled with negativity, you just have to fill yourself with that light. You have to find some positive at the end of the road. So, I mean, even if it's 1 out of 1,000 and you help someone, just keep going because you're going to find the right people.
Absolutely. Ah, thank you. Then that in itself, you have honored our show. It is such a blessing. I really appreciate everything that you do. I wish you many, many, many successes in the future for you and your family. How
Thank
exciting
you.
that your boys get to look up. And can you tell them hey, mommy's CEO right now? You need to go. Mommy
And
has
my
her
oldest
CEO hat
often
on.
asks me, "What do you do?"
They'll never know. My husband always asks me, "What do I do?"
What is
What is it?
it?
We don't know. It's the life of an entrepreneur. Everyone, so if you're just tuning in, we were speaking with Danielle Lee. She is an entrepreneur. She is a full-time job as a super mom. She has an amazing husband. They are an amazing team together, going after life for successes. Her day job is at Crest Mortgage, and if you want to find out more about the mortgage, she is a mortgage broker. So if you need any assistance with that, you can contact her at Danielle, which is DANIELLE.Lee at Crest CREST mortgage mortgage.com, or you could contact her at 602-791-0657.
Yep.
And if you are interested in her nails, which hi Robina, hi Crystal Cole, welcome. So let's talk. Oh, wait.
I guess we didn't talk about it.
We forgot to talk about one thing because and I only know this because of Katie. So what are what's your favorite coolest name of your brand? Like of the nail polish of the of
Oh, so they actually they come out with some really unique names, but a lot of them are based around travel and global names.
Tell
So
us. Yes.
I really like those. But it basically it's comes in an envelope, like I don't know.
Yes.
It
I
comes in
like
an
it.
envelope. They're different nail sizes. It's like stickers for your nails. They're super easy. They're 99%, 98% dry already. It's 100% nail polish, so it's not damaging to your nails. And they're stick and go.
Okay.
You can get creative with them. There's different designs. There's clear, there's glitter, there's designs, there's solids, there's a whole slew of different options. You can earn free product too, that kind of thing. So,
Nice.
but they're just simple. They're just so easy. They're affordable. So instead of going and spending anywhere between $25 and $40 for nails at the salon, they're quick, easy, anywhere between $10 to $15, just depending on what set you go with. So
That's wonderful. I like it. And so for the person that's on the go, how quick is it to take it off and then and then how quick is it to put them on?
it's just like removing nail polish. Application time is maybe 10 minutes, just matching up your nails, sticking it on. You don't need any special tools for it, so you don't have to heat it, you don't have to dry it, you don't need any lamps or anything like that.
Wow, excellent. All
And if
right,
you want some samples, just reach out to me and I'll mail some samples to you.
Okay, so that's going to be so we're going to contact Danielle at we're going to pull that up. For Color Street, it's Fable, Fable.
It's actually Fab Lee.
Oh, Fab Lee. Fab Lee. That's even
It works.
better. fableenails@gmail.com. So that's FABLEE nails@gmail.com, or call her at 602-791-0657. Again, my name is Valentino Luna. I am the founder and CEO of Corporate Diagnostics Center. I am also the founder and CEO of a global talent agency called DK International. If you want to visit that website, that is www.corporatediagnosticscenter.com. We help entrepreneurs nationwide incorporate businesses, and we also help provide business-to-business services, including website design, app design, business services such as payroll, access to legal services, bookkeeping, and much more. Thank you again, Danielle. Have a wonderful day. And everybody, for all you entrepreneurs out there, be kind to yourself, stay motivated, and don't lose focus on the game. Have a good evening.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank you.